Fordham women's basketball is on the road once again for a Wednesday night scrap with the Davidson Wildcats at the John M. Belk Arena just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. The Rams fell to 8-8 after a loss to Dayton on Rose Hill. Lucretia Edwards led the team in scoring with a season-high 17 points and hopes to help Fordham to their first A-10 victory of the season tonight. The Wildcats enter the evening at 12-6 after a triple overtime road defeat at the hands of Richmond. Davidson's three-headed monster of Charlize Dunn, Katie Donovan, and Kira Brindonks are all returners from last season, and they're hungry for a bounce-back game on their home floor. It's midweek A-10 women's college basketball live from Davidson, North Carolina. It's the Fordham Rams at the Davidson Wildcats. It's Fordham women's basketball, and it's coming up next on WFUV Sports. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you inside of the John M. Belk Arena in Davidson, North Carolina, here on the beautiful campus of Davidson College. Tucker Austin and Thomas Tisdale here with you as we get ready to present to you Fordham women's basketball on this Wednesday night, an A-10 matchup as the Fordham Rams get ready to take on the Davidson Wildcats. And Thomas, you know, Fordham's still in search of their first win in conference play. Coach Bridgette Mitchell of the Fordham Rams has been having to try and navigate this part of the season without their leading scorer, Alexis Black. They've had flashes of this team coming together and finding ways to grab leads in games, but it's just been a problem of finishing and playing a full, cohesive 40-minute basketball game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Fordham team is being a little bit overwhelmed with this just very uncomfortable situation that they're in. With a loss tonight, they would be 0-6 to open A-10 play, which is something they haven't done since 2009, and that's a long time ago, folks. And Fordham, there's just a little bit of a new sense of urgency, and they're going to have to do it without Alexis Black for the third game in a row and against a Davidson team that has just come out of the gates firing, losing their first conference game just last Saturday against Richmond. So, yeah, just going to be a great game tonight. Fordham taking on Davidson.
Yeah, not to mention that game against Richmond went to triple overtime, and Maggie Dugan needed 48 points on her own to get by this Wildcats team. It's a really talented group, a lot of returning players for head coach Gail Coates-Folks. But before we get to tip-off tonight, we had a chance to catch up with Fordham women's basketball head coach Bridgette Mitchell. Take a listen to that right now. Tucker Austin and Thomas Tisdale here with Fordham women's basketball head coach Bridgette Mitchell ahead of Fordham's matchup at the Davidson Wildcats. And coach, Saturday versus Dayton, your squad battled wire to wire and took a lead into the fourth quarter, just couldn't quite come out with the win. During the shoot-around today, you specified that you aren't looking for your players' best effort alone, but their maximum and best effort. So can you elaborate a little bit on what does that maximum effort look like tonight?
Yeah, I think that we as a team have more than what we're giving, whether that's, substitutions, right? Like not requesting a blow when you need one. But I want us to go out trusting that if I need a blow, I'm going to give my maximum effort, and then my teammate will come in and pick up right where I left off. And that forms this mindset of depth, right, and being able to have multiple people that are going to go in and give their maximum effort. And I strongly believe that with this team this year, we give our maximum effort. It's hard to beat a team like that.
To continue that thought, you stressed during the shoot-around that Fordham has to win those 50-50 plays, especially in conference play. Could you talk a little bit more about what the importance of those plays are in tonight's game?
Definitely. When you're playing conference, everybody knows everybody's plays. Right? We all know what they're going to do. They all know what we're going to do. Everybody's trying to take it away. And then what falls by the wayside is our ability to win the 50-50 plays. That's diving for loose balls. That's rebounds, right? Rebounds are up for grabs. And so those types of plays are the ones that we need to win come conference time.
And so speaking about rebounding specifically now, Davidson is a bottom half of the A-10 team in terms of defensive rebounding, and they're dead last in offensive rebounding this season. Rebounding is usually a foundational piece of your Fordham Ram teams, but tonight Is there any, like, considering those numbers, is there any extra emphasis on the glass for tonight's game?
No, because we're thinking maximum effort. If we go, it's what we do, right? So if you're giving your max, they're going to stay down there where their numbers are in terms of rebounding. They're not going to be able to out-rebound us. And so just really focusing on that, because if we get that, we'll see where, we'll end the game out-rebounding them.
Davidson's offense doesn't necessarily specialize in any particular facet of the game. They can beat you outside, they can beat you in the paint. What are you emphasizing in tonight's game, specifically on the defensive side?
Yeah, they're very versatile, but teams have shown within our conference that they struggle against our pressure, and so we're really going to up our intensity from our ability to trap in different places, whether that's in the post or on the perimeter, and so we're going to up that aggression.
Yeah, and so does some of that aggression also come in when it comes to Davidson? They're 8-1 at home this season. They've gotten into a very comfortable rhythm on their home floor. How do you sort of disrupt that sense of safety for Davidson? Is that aggressiveness part of it?
Yeah, aggressive defense, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. All right, Coach, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. The Fordham Rams at the Davidson Wildcats coming up next on WFUV Sports. We welcome you back inside the John M. Belk Arena. You just heard what Coach Bridgette Mitchell had to say pregame before tonight's matchup. We do have some starting lineups here as the Davidson Wildcats are going to get ready to be introduced into the arena here. The house that Stephen Curry built, had to drop that one. He, of course, played from 2006 to 2009 on the men's side. But let's get into these starting lineups, shall we, Thomas? For the Fordham Rams, it's going to be Emma Wilson-Saltos, Ornella Niankin, and Anastasia Veljevic as a triple forward threat. With a pair of guards, it's Karen Easley and Lucretia Edwards. So similar-looking starting lineup to last time out against the Dayton Flyers for the Rams. Meanwhile, for the Davidson Wildcats, it's going to be Elena Alvarez at guard, Katie Donovan also at guard, Inez Garcia at forward, Kira Brundunks at guard, and Charlize Dunn also at guard. So a 4-guard set for the Wildcats with the 1 forward, Inez Garcia, a freshman, but a talented freshman at that.
I would say there's a little bit of an asterisk on that 4-guard lineup. Charlize Dunn, sort of the focal point of this offense. She is 6'2", from Australia, so she's certainly not a small guard. And I think Fordham's going to have a little bit of difficulty dealing with the size that this Davidson lineup has. But if one thing that Coach Mitchell stressed during our interview with her, it's playing with that maximum effort, giving your best for your teammates. And I think Fordham, they understand the desperation of the situation at hand, and they're certainly going to bring that for tonight.
I think desperation is definitely the apt word to use in this situation. As we've been mentioning, the Fordham Rams are 0-5 to start conference play this season. They have not won yet in A10 competition. That has them second to last in the conference. Duquesne also is yet to pick up a win, and they have a worse overall record. But Fordham has now dropped to 500 overall on the season at 8-8. This is a big test against a really, really good Wildcats team. But Coach Mitchell was telling us pregame that when this Fordham team plays with that effort, they give 110%, and they're able to build that trust among each other that the next person up off the bench is going to be able to pick up the slack and have that much effort. It makes Fordham a pretty hard team to beat, even without their leading scorer. So it'll be interesting to see what they can put together today. If the Fordham Rams can limit the top players for Davidson, this is something that the Rams have prided themselves on, especially they limited a player like Maggie Dugan to 10 points against Richmond. Didn't quite have the same effect in the Dayton game, but they did manage to keep their best players tamped down for quite some time. It's going to be interesting to see if Fordham can keep a lid on Charlize Dunn and Katie Donovan.
Yeah, they're certainly a fearsome duo. Katie Donovan last season against Fordham had 24 points, 4 from 9 from 3. So it's going to be about limiting her from behind the arc. But I think the issue for Fordham for a majority of the season is that they just haven't been able to piece together a consistent performance for 40 minutes. And I think that's number one priority for Coach Mitchell, is having that effort for 40 minutes tonight.
The Fordham Rams in road maroons with white letters and numbers and names on the back of the jersey. Notably, Davidson does not have names on the back. Fordham wins the tip. Davidson in white with black letters and red numbers with black outlines. Davidson across the chest on the front for the Wildcats. Fordham across the chest for the Rams, and Emma Wilson-Saltos gets us going early with a 2 in the paint with the left hand. 2-0 Rams, 9:40 to go in the first.
Great physical offense there from Wilson-Saltos.
Into the corner, it's Charlize Dunn. Cross-court pass into the opposite corner. Now up to the right wing, it's Elena Alvarez. Alvarez drives the lane, and that's going to be an offensive foul. Alvarez looking for the contact, but Ornella Niankin is the one who draws the foul, and it's Fordham's basketball.
She does a great job getting her feet set, and Davidson likes to establish their inside game early, and I think Fordham, that was one of the priorities coming into this one, is stopping Davidson from establishing that early.
There's a full court press from the Wildcats, but the Rams break it easily. Works into the paint, finds Wilson-Saltos, who goes up strong with that right hand this time, and Wilson-Saltos, an early 2 for 2 today, 4-0 Rams, 9:10 to go in the first.
She's already equaled her point total from last time out against Dayton.
Cross court for Charlize Dunn, now to the right post. Underneath for Inez Garcia, who makes the move through the paint and puts it up with the left hand. That goes, and it's 4-2 Fordham.
Yeah, fantastic move from Inez Garcia there. Just put her in a bit of a spin cycle there, and Davidson cuts the deficit to half.
Garcia, a 5.4 point per game scorer this season, just a freshman who's played in 17 games and started in 9. Out of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Spain. Out of bounds on the opposite end, and it's last touched by Davidson. It's Fordham's basketball still. 8:44 to go in this first quarter. Fordham with a 4-2 lead. Veljovic with it for the Rams in the right corner. Now back to Easley, top of the key. Easley, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Picks up her dribble, now finds Veljovic. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Veljovic down low for Niankin. Niankin flips it up, but it's no good off the rim. Got her own rebound. Niankin tries to put up another shot, but it's no good. And it's rebounded by Davidson, but 3 opportunities there for the Rams and no points to show for it.
Fordham's going to have plenty of opportunities on the offensive glass tonight.
Donovan cutting through the paint, and she gets it to go with the left-handed layup. Stepping through from the right block, and that ties the game at 4. 8 minutes flat to go in this first quarter. Easley has it top of the key for the Rams, now finds Veljovic. Right corner, Anastasia Veljovic gets it to Wilson-Saltos. She tried to lay it up with her left hand off the glass, but it was no good. A little short, rebounded by Jasmine Timerson. Timerson, long cross-court pass for Donovan in the left corner. That's no good. For the 4th best 3-point shooter in the nation, that was a pretty good look in the corner for Katie Donovan. Fordham lucky to get away without giving up points there.
Yeah, Fordham's going to have to limit the points and transition, and Donovan's going to look to camp out in those corners, like you said. Lethal from behind the arc, but Fordham probably got away with one there.
Timerson ready to inbound under the basket. 20-second shot clock for the Wildcats. Inbound to Charlize Dunn. She's guarded on the right wing by Ornella Niankin. There's a foul away from the basketball. And I believe it's going to come back underneath here. The foul is called against Tia Morgan, guarding Katie Donovan off the basketball.
I think you'll take that. You got to establish your physical presence early if you're this Rams team.
Inbound finds Donovan top of the key, guarded by Morgan. Donovan moves into the paint, now kicks it out for Charlize Dunn right wing. Dunn crosses over her dribble, now drives baseline, fires it into the left corner for Kira Brundunk. She drives to the left block, layup is no good. Battle for the rebound, last touch by Inez Garcia, and it's Rams basketball, 7:27 to go in the first quarter.
Great job closing out there on the 3. Brundunk's not the most efficient 3-point shooter, but certainly can knock them down and forces a tough floater there.
Karen Easley, the freshman from Philadelphia for the Fordham Rams, brings it up. Finds Lucretia Edwards on the right side. Edwards finds Omashola on the right block. She goes up with the right hand and puts it off the glass. Precious Omashola with her first make of the evening, and Fordham retakes the lead at 6-4.
Great move there from Omashola. Again, Fordham just feasting in the paint early.
Just under 7 to go in the first quarter. Wildcats ball down by 2. Right corner. It's a wide open look again for Donovan, but she misses, rebounded by Tia Morgan. Second miss of the night for Katie Donovan.
Again, Fordham a little fortunate there for that not to go down.
Easily passes to the top of the key for Niankin. Now right corner, it's Tia Morgan. She'll pull the three, and she hits. Tia Morgan with the first three of the night for either side, and it's 9-4, 5-point advantage for the Rams.
Fordham is just getting whatever they want on offense. They've got the inside, and just the ability to hit those shots is certainly going to be huge for this Rams team down the stretch.
Charlize Dunn finds Katie Donovan, now down low for Garcia, but it's tipped out of bounds, last touch by Karen Easley. And it'll stay with the Wildcats. Kayla Berry and Mason Hill going to check in now for the Rams, as Ornella Niankin and Karen Easley both get a breather. So get that first look at those substitutions from Coach B that are going to be so crucial in this game. Can everyone match the effort of the players that they subbed in for? Charlize Dunn, right wing for the Wildcats. 6:08 on the clock in the first quarter. She gets it inside. And backing down and scoring is Adina Strauss after the pass from Dunn. And it's 9-6 Fordham.
Strauss is going to be tough for this Fordham team to deal with. She makes about 50% of her shots, ruthlessly efficient inside the paint.
Yeah, almost exclusively shooting from the paint, and a small sample size at that, but still a 50% mark. Very, very solid from the 6'3 center. Tia Morgan, right elbow, pulls with 4 seconds on the shot clock, and she connects. The mid-range jumper from Tia Morgan, and it's 11-6 on the answer by the Rams. Ensuing possession for the Wildcats. Timerson finds Brundunks. Now right corner, it's Donovan. Back up top for Timerson. Now left corner, Brundunks. Left wing, and looking down low, Charlize Dunn was trying to find Adina Strauss, but the pass was too hot. It goes out of bounds, and it's Fordham's ball under their own basket.
Davidson doesn't really turn the ball over that often, but that was a point of emphasis for Coach B is forcing Davidson to play quick there. Davidson didn't get a chance to really dribble the ball and attack with a drive, and Fordham does a great job forcing the turnover.
The inbound, and Fordham trying to break a full court press here. A bit of a weave to get across the interlocking DC at half court. Standing for Davidson College. Tia Morgan, right wing, finds Kayla Berry. Puts it on the floor and drives to the right block. Kayla Berry working her way through the lane, and nice and easy with the right hand off the glass, and it's 13-6 Fordham.
Does a great job maneuvering her body there, and just an easy layup there for Kayla Berry.
4:45 to go in this first quarter, and it's been all Rams to start this one. Down low, it's Adina Strauss, kicks it out for Donovan, and she hits Katie Donovan, and it was only a matter of time before she hit her first three. It's 13-9 Rams.
Yeah, she was bound to hit one of those, and Fordham just kept napping there on the backside, and Donovan able to connect with the corner three.
Donovan leads the conference in three-point shooting by percentage. We already mentioned she's 4th in Division I in that statistic. It was a ball out of bounds underneath the basket, and I believe it's going to be off the Fordham Rams, but either way, that brings us to our media stoppage under 5 minutes in the first quarter. It's been a hot start for the Rams here. 4:20 to go in the first, 13-9. The Fordham Rams have the lead, and we'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball. Don't go anywhere on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
And we welcome you back to the John M. Belk Arena in Davidson, North Carolina. Tucker Austin, Thomas Tisdale with you. And this, a presentation of Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports. We thank you so much for joining us on this midweek, a Wednesday night for an A-10 clash between the Fordham Rams and the Davidson Wildcats. 13-9 is the score. As we leave it now, the Fordham Rams with the lead. and Thomas, this Fordham team has been making it pretty tough in the early going on the Wildcats. They did just finally hit their first 3 of the night, courtesy of Katie Donovan. But overall, the Fordham Rams have really looked to generally be in control of this one.
Yeah, they've looked great on the defensive side, just playing really physical defense, and that effort that we talked about, and the level of effort that Fordham need to bring today to be competitive with this high-powered Davidson offense. They've certainly brought it tonight. A couple of open 3 looks for Katie Donovan, and Fordham's going to have to look to limit those. But overall, a pretty fantastic start for this Fordham team. And on the offensive side, I think Fordham's just doing a great job establishing their inside game early, taking the threes when they're given to them, but really not forcing Davidson to guard them on the perimeter yet.
The Rams have had, including this game, now 3 pretty solid starts in a row. They had a good start against Richmond, then a good start against Dayton, where they even carried that start into the 4th quarter with a lead. And now another good start against Davidson, but the key will be, can they hold on for the full 40 minutes today? First possession after the timeout for Davidson, and there's a foul under the basket. Believe this one's coming against Ugne Sertau-Teta. Ugne now in the game after having missed the game against Dayton. Didn't get in, just didn't quite match the substitutions that Coach B wanted, but getting some minutes today against the Wildcats. The inbound finds Angie Ziaka. Now inside, it was Adina Strauss, but her shot was no good. Was rebounded by the Rams, but then a bit of a miscommunication underneath between Kayla Berry and Karen Easley led to that ball getting out of bounds, and it's going to be a turnover, Davidson's ball.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unforced error by this Rams team, and Fordham's really going to have to limit those if they want to stay competitive tonight.
Donovan with a dribble handoff with Angie Ziaka. Now it's back with Ziaka, the sophomore from Athens, Greece. Ziaka kicks it out for Timerson. Jasmine Timerson drives baseline, and it's stolen away by Kayla Berry. Nice hands at the left block by Berry. She finds Easley. Quick transition. Anastasia Veljevic, left wing, now driving to the free throw line, puts up the layup. That's no good. Fight for the rebound, and Katie Donovan comes down with it.
3 Fordham Rams crashing on that play, and I think that has to be where Fordham's going to have to really punish this Davidson team. They've struggled on the glass.
And that was a pretty interesting move that time by Adina Strauss, trying to get through Ugne Sertau-Teta. Sertau-Teta picks up her 2nd personal foul of the night already in this first quarter, and she checks out for Emma Wilson-Saltos. Adina Strauss goes to the free throw line. That was a nifty move in the interior, getting Sertau-Teta's feet moving, then stepping through and drawing the contact. The shot was really not too close to going in, but either way, she's at the free throw line. And she makes the first.
Yeah, she may be 6'3", but certainly nimble, able to draw the foul there.
Strauss, a 58% free throw shooter on the season, but she makes them both this time. The former captain of the under-17 and under-18 Hungarian national teams back in 2022 and 23. Karen Easley, top of the key, finds Anastasia Veljevic. Clock ticks under 3 minutes to go in this first quarter. 13-11 the lead for the Rams, and Wilson-Saltos gets inside to make it 15-11, another 2 for number 13 for the Fordham Rams.
She's really been excellent to start tonight. She's already got 6 points after just having 4 in a foul trouble riddled game last time out against Dayton.
Swing from right to left for Davidson, now top of the key. It was a good look for Elena Alvarez, and she connects from 3. Alvarez makes it 15-14 Fordham. We got a 1-point game.
The freshman from Pamplona, Spain, just makes them pay for a little bit of a loose defense there from Fordham.
One of a handful of international players hailing from Spain on this Davidson team. They've got a lot of international players in general, but they had a large influx from Spain in the last year or so. Veljevic off the glass for 3, and she hits from the right wing. What a shot from Anastasia Veljevic. And the answer by the Fordham Rams, it's 18-14, just under 2 to go in the first quarter. Brundunks a right corner 3. That's no good off the front iron, but a rebound that time by Candice Leonafa, and she kicks it back out to Brundunks. Alvarez, cross court into the right corner. Candice Leonafa connects from 3 in the right corner. And it's a shootout between the Rams and Wildcats in this first quarter. 18-17, Rams with the lead, minute and a half to go. Karen Easley drives down to the left block, finds Kayla Berry, who pulls for a mid-ranger. That's no good. Rebounded by Leonafa.
Just a bit of a miscommunication there from Fordham on that last Leonafa free.
And another 3 attempted by Leonafa is no good, but a nice rebound by Strauss. But she picks up an offensive foul. Strauss driving on Tia Morgan. Morgan takes the contact. And it's another turnover by the Wildcats. Ball going in the direction of the Fordham Rams.
I will say Fordham's done a great job setting their feet, getting in front of the driver. Davidson's having to move the ball pretty quick. They haven't really had any long, sustained drives.
They've picked up a couple of offensive fouls early in this game. 2 fouls in the first quarter for the Wildcats, 3 fouls called against the Fordham Rams. Top of the key, Karen Easley has it for Fordham. Clock going to tick under a minute to go here in this first quarter. It's been a fairly high-scoring one, high-octane first period. Lucretia Edwards tries to get the pass inside for Niankin, but that's going to be a kick ball. Believe it was Charlize Dunn who did the kicking. And it's going to be Fordham's basketball underneath new shot clock, 20 seconds, 48.9 to go in the quarter.
I like how they're trying to get Lucretia Edwards more involved in this game. She had 17 against Dayton and was pretty efficient from the field, going 7 to 12, and they're really going to have to rely on her tonight if they want to keep up with this Davidson offense.
Inbound to Veljovic. Now it's Easley, right wing, moves to her left, down to the elbow, now cuts down to the right block, and she's fouled. It's going to be on the floor. They don't count the basket, although Easley had the nice touch to toss it off the glass. The referee currently explaining to Coach B that that foul was on the floor and that it was a bump. He's also explaining it to head coach Gail Fulks, but Coach B wanted that bucket.
Yeah, great finish from Easley. I know it didn't count, but
inbound, and Niankin tries to find Wilson Saltos underneath, but it's tipped up in the air and stolen by Inez Garcia. Davidson with the basketball, about a 4-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock here. 23 seconds on the game clock. 15 on shot clock now. Still a 1-point lead for the Rams. And a slow dribble from Elena Alvarez. Alvarez still with it. Left corner, Charlize Dunn. Got a contested look and hits the 3 over Ornella Niankin. 2-point lead for the Wildcats. 5 seconds to go. Wilson Saltos, handoff to Easley. Easley, a 3 from the left wing. No good off the front iron as the horn sounds to end the first quarter. Davidson with the last laugh at the end of the first 10, and it's 20-18 thanks to Charlize Dunn.
We haven't really heard that much from Charlize Dunn so far tonight, but a big 3, and Fordham just hasn't really found a way since the beginning of the game to stop Davidson from getting these sort of open 3 looks. That was a little bit more of a contested one, but Dunn, just an incredible score for this Davidson team, and she was able to knock it down.
It's less about how open the look was, I feel, in this situation, and maybe more about the rhythm. When Davidson can get into their rhythm, get their offense working, and make shots not necessarily off the dribble, but just off the catch and shoot, or off of the rhythm of the offense, that's when it allows them to kind of get into that muscle memory mode and hit a shot down with someone like Ornella Niankin's hand right in your face. Either way, excellent shot by Charlize Dunn. Gives the Wildcats the lead at the end of 10 minutes of play. It's 20-18. Davidson leading Fordham. We'll be right back, though, with the start of the second quarter of action on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
And we welcome you back inside the John M. Belk Arena in Davidson, North Carolina, the home of the Davidson Wildcats, and a building made particularly famous by one man named Steph Curry. I am Tucker Austin, he's Thomas Tisdale. The Fordham Rams played an excellent opening period tonight against the Davidson Wildcats, but they still find themselves down by 2. It's 20-18, Davidson with the lead, courtesy of a last possession, a last gasp 3 in the first quarter by Charlize Dunn. Before we get going here, Thomas, though, what do we got going on elsewhere in the A-10?
Looking at the rest of the conference, St. Louis took down LaSalle earlier today by 9. Richmond's up big against Dayton early in the first. And St. Joe's trailing St. Bonaventure by 6 with 2 minutes left in the third.
Interesting movement around the A-10. It's a pretty wide open year, all things considered, and with a team as strong as Richmond in the conference, for it to still be as open as it is, it's really incredible. Fordham, though, in search of still their first win in conference play this year. And on the opening possession, the pass from Karen Easley to Lucretia Edwards is stolen away by Inez Garcia, and the Wildcats have it now. Kira Brundunk's in the corner, now top of the key for Alvarez. Thinks better of a 3. They get it back to Brundunks, who finds Alvarez again. Good ball movement by the Wildcats to start this second quarter. Another pass into the left corner for Brundunks, who sends the no-look pass to the left wing for Alvarez. Alvarez kicks it out to Katie Donovan, who can't connect on the 3. Good closeout by Anastasia Veljevic that time. Karen Easley hounded as she tries to get across the timeline, and it's out of bounds. Last touched by Easley. Nice work by the Wildcats on the full court press that time to cause the turnover.
Fordham certainly trying to push the pace, and they did that a lot in the first quarter, but just sometimes it gets away from you there, and it got away from Karen Easley there, and Davidson has another possession.
Katie Donovan into the left corner. It's a quick shot from Charlize Dunn, but that's no good. Rebound by Alvarez, who brings it back up top. Alvarez, dribble handoff for Dunn. Dunn working on Wilson Saltos, sends it up top for Garcia. Now right corner, Brundunks, a high arcing 3 is no good. A bit long. Rebound to Emma Wilson Saltos.
We talked about
Easley loses the basketball again. Sorry to cut you off there, Thomas, but it's another turnover by the Fordham Rams. Karen Easley with a couple of interesting mistakes there, bringing the ball up for the Rams in the absence of Alexis Black.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic there from Easley, and Fordham does a great job there on defense, forcing a couple of contested 3s, but you just can't have those unforced errors.
Great ball movement now from the Wildcats, just swinging it all over the place. It went around the full arc of the floor at least twice before they finally cut it into the paint. And when they did, Katie Donovan, I believe, may have picked up. No, it is a foul against the Rams. Tia Morgan checks in. It's an inbound underneath for the Davidson Wildcats, and it finds Katie Donovan. Clock gonna tick under 8 minutes on this possession. Donovan with it top of the key, guarded by Morgan, who just checked in the game. Alvarez on the dribble handoff, drives to the right block, puts it up, but no good. A rebound by Donovan, and she's fouled as she goes up for the layup. It's no good again, but Katie Donovan gonna go to the free throw line.
Fordham's just got to do a better job crashing the defensive glass. Davidson's already up to 5 offensive rebounds. This Davidson team isn't particularly good, or they're not particularly known for their prowess on the glass, but Davidson just generating second look after second look, and she's able to draw the foul there off the offensive rebound.
It's actually Inez Garcia who came down with the rebound and was fouled. It's Mason Hill who picks up the foul. Garcia made the first, but then missed the second of 2. 21-18, 3-point lead for the Wildcats over the Rams. 7:45 to go in this second quarter. Top of the key for Tia Morgan. It's Morgan, Berry, Nyankin, Omashola, and Edwards, the 5 on the floor for the Fordham Rams. Top of the key, Morgan sends it down low for Omashola, who puts it up too strong, gets her own rebound in the paint, puts it up again, but she is fouled. She was fouled on the floor, though, before going up for the shot, so it's going to be an inbound under the basket for the Fordham Rams. Nice work, though, by Omashola.
Yeah, just great tenacity she showed there. and that's that effort that Coach B was talking about throughout the game. She was preaching it, that they need to be given maximum effort.
Certainly, that was the kind of effort we just saw from Omashola. She gets the basketball again on the right block, puts it up with the right hand, but it's no good. The spinning try by Omashola, but she can't get it to go. Davidson's basketball up by 3. 7:15 to go in the second quarter. It's a good look for Jasmine Timerson from the right wing, but that's no good. Rebounded by Niankin. She finds Morgan up the floor, guarded by Donovan. Morgan crosses over and now finds Kayla Berry on the left wing. Berry goes across the floor to the right elbow. She's fouled by Kira Brundunks. Another inbound underneath for the Rams, and another foul on the floor against Davidson.
Fordham deploying this sort of hybrid defense when Davidson has the ball, and there have just been a couple of miscommunications, and Davidson has had a couple of open looks. Davidson just hasn't been able to make them pay quite yet.
Fordham also doing their best to close out when they need to on the defensive end. They don't always get there, but so far they have been getting hands in the face of shooters. Niankin had a mid-range on the other end, but that was no good. Another empty possession for the Fordham Rams, and it's Davidson's ball once again. Brundunks finds Garcia. Garcia into the left corner for Charlize Dunn. Tries to work around Edwards. She passes to a cutting Garcia, who finds Donovan in the right corner, but no good. Guarded by Omashola. Another missed 3 by Katie Donovan. Berry dribble handoff Lucretia Edwards. Edwards works into the paint, pulls from the free throw line, and connects on the mid-range shot. Lucretia Edwards on the board for the first time tonight. 21-20 Davidson.
First points of the quarter there for Fordham. We're 4 minutes in, and yet Fordham's still only down 1. Just credit to this defense.
Charlize Dunn, a really good look in the right corner, and she hits. She was wide open that time, Thomas.
Maybe a bit of a commentator's curse there, praising this Fordham defense as they give up a wide open look to Dunn, and she is certainly one that you're not going to want to have that kind of look, and she makes them pay.
It was the first real defensive breakdown of the second quarter for the Fordham Rams, but other than that, though, they've been really solid. Kayla Berry, left corner for the Rams, trailing by 4, 24-20, with 5.5 minutes to go in this first half. Edwards steps back and drills a 3 from the left wing. Lucretia Edwards, don't look now, she might be getting hot. It's 24-23 Davidson.
That's a huge answer from Edwards, and Fordham certainly needed that.
Brundunks a right corner 3, and that's good. Kira Brundunks has the answer for Davidson, and it's 27-23 now.
We're just going back, and Davidson finally heating up from behind the arc, and Fordham's going to have to find a way to keep up.
The 5'11 sophomore from Mol, Belgium, who played solidly for Davidson last year, did Kira Brundunks, but stepping into a much bigger role as the third of a 3-headed monster for the Wildcats. Edwards whistled for a travel. It's the first one of the game against the Fordham Rams as she moved that foot a little bit too early before putting the basketball on the floor, and that stops the game for the first time under 5 minutes in this second quarter. 27-23, it's a 4-point advantage for the Davidson Wildcats now. Fordham, though, managing to keep the game relatively within reach. We'll see if they can close this small gap once again and try to get back out in front before the halftime break on the other side of this timeout. But don't go anywhere because you're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
We welcome you back inside of the Belk Arena on the campus of Davidson College in Davidson, North Carolina. Just about 15 to 20 minutes drive or so north of the Queen City of Charlotte. Tucker Austin and Thomas Tisdale with you as the Fordham Rams trail the Davidson Wildcats It's 27-23, Davidson in front. But Fordham so far has been getting a lot of scoring out of multiple sources, not just from one source. It's a good sign to see, especially when you're out a lead scorer like Alexis Black. But it's also been good to see Ugne Sertau-Teita getting a couple of minutes here and there after she suffered a hip injury against the Richmond Spiders 2 games ago. Meanwhile, though, for Davidson, it's a much similar story for the Wildcats in terms of they're also spreading the ball around plenty, and their ball movement is honestly head-spinning at times in the early part of this game, Thomas.
It's incredibly hard for us to keep up. I mean, you'll go 5, 6, 7 passes without the ball touching the court for this Wildcats team, and Fordham able to keep up for the most part. Davidson's only hit 2 shots here in the second quarter, and Fordham, while they have struggled at times to get things going offensively and a couple of just discombobulated possessions, their defense has really stepped up and kept them in this game.
Davidson with the same offensive set that they've been running all game. They start with 2 players on either corner, in the right and the left, and it's the player from the right corner who gets it to go this time, Emily Bessel, who drove into the lane, got the easy 2, 29-23, now a 6-point advantage, I believe is the largest of the night for Davidson, and it is. But Lucretia Edwards has the answer from the left wing. She hits a 3 and cuts it to 29-26.
That's her second of the night, and it could not have come at a better time for this Fordham team.
Underneath, it's Adina Strauss with it. Now on the right block. Her layup is no good. Rebounded by Emma Wilson-Saltos. Nice defense there. Pass forward for Wilson-Saltos. Driving. She finds Kayla Berry. And the passing play in the interior going to work for the Fordham Rams. Wilson-Saltos finds Berry for 2, and it's 29-28.
That's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach B. Running in transition and an easy bucket for this Fordham offense.
Nice little weave and using the numbers advantage to their benefit. It's going to be a long 2 here from Adina Strauss, who was left open at the right elbow for a long time, but she misses the 2, and it's 29-28. Fordham with a chance to take the lead here. Easily at the free throw line. Thought about the 2, but now kicks it out to Tia Morgan. 3:30 to go in the second quarter. Easily right wing guarded by Donovan. They call her for the travel, and it's the same travel call that this Fordham team gets a lot, where they start moving that foot before they put the ball on the floor, but then they hesitate to move in that direction, but still the whistle is blown when they take that step, pick that right foot up, put it on the ground. The left foot doesn't really move, but it's more about the intent of where they're going to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit peculiar, and Fordham's just going to have to find a way to not be giving those sort of possessions up, because that's just a simple mistake.
And that was a really nice play between Charlize Dunn and Adina Strauss. Dunn ran a little circle around Strauss before she found an open look at the left block, and it was an easy layup for her. 31-28, 3-point lead for the Wildcats. 3 minutes flat to go in the second quarter. Emma Wilson-Saltos on the left elbow finds Karen Easley. Left wing 3, that's no good, and the rebound from Emily Bessel.
But she'll certainly take that look. Karen Easley, not the most efficient 3-point scorer, but that was an open look for her, and she'd want to have that one back.
Bessel on the left wing gets it to the top of the key for Strauss. Adina Strauss was thinking about that right elbow look again. She had a smirk on her face when the Rams left her open, but she kicks it out. Emily Bessel drives the left block, puts it up, but that's no good. Rebound by Leah Nafa. She can't get it to go, and another offensive rebound by Strauss. Charlize Dunn a 3, that's no good. Finally corralled by Emma Wilson-Saltos of the Rams.
Fortunate there, Charlize Dunn eyed that one up and
easily finds Berry underneath, but that's no good. Rebound Leah Nafa, and Kayla Berry makes some contact with Candace Leonafa under the basket. Leonafa hit the deck on what looked like some pretty heavy contact from Kayla Berry fighting for the rebound. Either way, though, it's a foul on the floor, ball underneath their own basket. Davidson will have to come the length of the floor.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of frustration for Kayla Berry missing that layup, and she just tries to get that one back and unfortunately called for the foul.
Berry's been in the right place at the right time tonight. She was in the right place again that time, but couldn't get it to go. Clock approaches 2 minutes as Strauss spins into the lane. and finds the left block two to make it 33-28. Fordham, though, still fighting and clawing to stay in this one. 1:45 to go in the second quarter. Anastasia Veljevic on the left wing. It's a 5-point deficit for the Rams. Veljevic trying to get free of Strauss, and she does. She finds Edwards. Edwards to the right side for Karen Easley now. Easley gonna pull from the right wing. That three is no good. Fight for the rebound, and Leonafa pulls it down.
Yeah, just another great look for Easley there. She absolutely want to have that one back, and Fordham really need those points there.
Bessel drives down to the left block, working on Karen Easley. She dumps it off for Adina Strauss, but absolutely nobody around her. Strauss standing at 6'3" with a wide open look under the basket again, and Strauss with the steal on the inbound. 1 minute to play in this first half. Davidson with a chance to extend what's already their largest lead of the evening. Strauss working on Wilson Saltos. Off the glass, count it, and one. Adina Strauss is taking over for the Wildcats in this second quarter. It's 37-28 Davidson. She's going to the free throw line with a chance to make this a 10-point game.
A pretty disastrous sequence there for Fordham, but credit to Strauss. Just does a great job with the easy finish, and then just the hustle to get in on the inbound there, and then just the physicality to not only draw the foul, but then get it to go as she converts the and one. This might be getting a little bit away from Fordham.
The last 5 points for the Wildcats belong to Adina Strauss. Strauss 11 points in the first half now on 4 of 6 shooting, leads not only the Wildcats, but also the entire game. 36 seconds to go now, and that pass across is stolen by Emily Bessel. Another turnover by the Rams, and a chance for Davidson to really open this one up before halftime.
Yeah, Fordham, for the most part, were able to rely on their defense to sort of counteract any misgivings on the offensive side, but Davidson's starting to heat up a little bit, and Fordham desperately needs an answer.
Fordham scoreless in the last 3:33. It's a left wing try for Candice Leonafa, but it's no good. Rebounded by Veljevic. 1 second on the clock. Veljevic has to pull this at the buzzer, but it's no good to the left of the rim off the glass. But goodness gracious me, Thomas, the Davidson Wildcats, a 9-0 run in the last 4 minutes of game time in the second to bring them out to a 10-point advantage as we go to the break, 38-28. And you look at this scoreboard, and it's just not really indicative, at least for me, of the way most of this first half went.
Yeah, Fordham was really competitive for most of that, outstanding in the first quarter, and then the offensive sort of just dried up a little bit in the second, and then the defense on the defensive end, it sort of just fell apart in those last couple of minutes. Davidson able to capitalize, and now Fordham's down 10 at the break, and it's certainly not a position that Fordham would like to be in terms of the scoreline, but the performance has to be incredibly encouraging for Coach B and our coaching staff.
Yeah, Lucretia Edwards leading the scoring again, but only as of the last few minutes of the first half. Edwards with 8 for the Rams, perfect from the floor today, 3 of 3, 2 of 2 from 3. Emma Wilson-Saltos been doing some good work in the interior, 6 points to her name, all in the paint, with 4 rebounds and an assist. Karen Easley hasn't gotten on the scoreboard yet, but she's got 2 assists to her name. And Tia Morgan with 5 also had a perfect half shooting at 2 of 2. But like you mentioned, Thomas, the Rams just kind of went really, really cold at the end of the first half, and it allowed Davidson, who were working pretty consistently over the course of the first half, to open up their largest lead of the night. For the Wildcats, led by the 11 points of Adina Strauss, but should be mentioned that Charlize Dunn is also up to 8 points on 3 of 5 and 2 of 4 from 3. She's also leading the team in minutes so far, is Charlize Dunn. Those are the 2 leading scorers, but still spreading things out among the rest. Katie Donovan, though, 1 of 5 to start from 3. That could be a player to look out for. If she gets hot, this game could get really out of hand. Fordham going to need to regroup and reassess at the halftime break. At the end of 20 minutes of play, though, the Fordham Rams trail the Davidson Wildcats 38-28. We're going to kick it to some halftime content here. You'll get a portion of an interview with Thomas Tisdale, my partner today, and Dominic Sansone, as they join Dr. Robert Kissel talking the field of sports prediction modeling. You can catch the full interview on our WFUV Sports YouTube page, but if you stick around for this halftime show, you'll get a portion of it right now. We'll be right back in about 10 minutes or so with the start of the second half of action. Stay right here for more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Welcome back to One on One. I'm Thomas Tisdale, joined alongside by Dominic Sansone, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Dr. Robert Kissel, who's a finance professor at the Gabelli School of Business here at Fordham. And before he came to Fordham, he had a very successful Wall Street career at JP Morgan and UBS. But the reason we have him on today isn't necessarily for his finance expertise, but it's because he runs a sports prediction and ranking model as well as an app called Algo Sports 23. And I'll let him explain it a little bit more in detail, but in essence, it's a very complicated computer model which predicts college football and NFL, but I also hear you're looking to expand to other sports as well. And before we get into some of the more technical questions, could you just briefly explain to us, Dr. Kissel, what got you into running the sports prediction model and then generally your background?
Terrific. Well, Thomas and Dominic, first, thanks for having me on the show. It's wonderful. This is exciting. It's always exciting to participate with, Fordham in any capacity. Start with a little bit of my background. My background was undergrad applied math and statistics. I'm a Fordham alum as well. I got my PhD in economics at Fordham, and I moved into Wall Street. So my roles in Wall Street was developing the algorithmic trading models, the models we hear now, that's high frequency trading, electronic trading. So my team's work, we developed the theory, the quantitative models behind those trading algorithms. I've always had a big interest in sports, soccer, football, basketball, all of the sports. And as I'll say as an academic quant, a practicing quant, I always wondered, how is it that this group of people are coming up with predictions? If it's Vegas, if it's a selection committee, how are they coming up with the predictions? How are they coming up with the probabilities? And then after we started thinking, I said, this is the exact same quantitative models that we're already using for quantitative finance, for predictions, probabilities, forecasting. So we started applying these models to sports data sets. We found they were extremely successful. So this is probably, not something over the last few weeks, few months, few years. This is probably going back 15, 20 years in the making. So Algo Sports 23 is an aggregation now of over 250 quantitative sports prediction models, ranking models, probability models, counting, linear, nonlinear, optimization. More recently, we've introduced different types of machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, artificial intelligence. And our final prediction is based on an AI methodology, some AI logic that determines which models are most appropriate for predicting the winning teams and the winning scores in which sports. So we're not even sitting down saying, hey, these models work best for college football. These are best for the NBA. We have an AI overlay that's determining the best models for the best sports. So that's a little overview of the model.
Thank you for that. You mentioned that this model is pretty much the exact same process, obviously with a few tweaks that you used in Wall Street. And I think a lot of times for more casual fans or maybe not so statistic driven sports fans, it's difficult to see the connection between, finance and, the sports world. And I was just wondering if you could explain, and you can be as technical or as general as you'd like, what that process looks like. And then also, how is that different from the way that other models are built with, their inherent flaws?
Okay, certainly. So I'll give two approaches that's used in finance. So one, we may be looking at the probability of a company defaulting on their bond payments, on their interest payments. So that's a probability model. So I just wanted to understand from 0 to 100%, what's the likelihood that a company is not going to pay back its bond when it matures, or make a coupon payment? And there's certain data that we incorporate into that analysis, and the outcome is that probability from 0 to 100. This has an exact relationship when two teams are playing each other. What's the probability that one team is going to beat the other? So even without getting into the complex math, and I do want to say that the math is maybe a little complex, not as complex as what people say. I think at quants, we like to impress people. We try to make what we're doing seem super sophisticated, advanced. Why? As I tell my students, we want to come across as knowing everything. But number two, from a business world, job security. If we say, oh, this is really hard, nobody wants our jobs. So we feel good about that. Only half kidding there. So we could use the same models, the same approach. Now it's a different data set to determine the probability of a team winning. Another type of model is a prediction model where I'm predicting the outcome. It could be stock returns. It can be the number of shares I'm going to trade over a certain period of time. And this has a relationship with predicting the final score, predicting that margin. How much is a home team going to beat the away team by? If it's greater than 0, home team wins. Less than 0, the home team's going to lose. And within that prediction, there's also a standard error. And that standard error allows us to also compute the probabilities. And these models could be as simple as a linear regression model. It could be something getting a little more complex, linear regression, or moving into something that's completely data-driven, like MI, artificial intelligence. Just here's the data, figure out the relationship, and give us the outcome. So some of the models are really straightforward, simple on the surface, but what we're doing is calculating, estimating the probability of one team winning and what that score is likely to be. And we've been extremely successful with the models over the years.
Perfect. Dr. Kissel, I got a couple questions for you. First, I'll start with one on the rankings. Obviously, the Associated Press and Coaches Poll released their weekly rankings of the top 25 teams at the FBS level. However, the Algo Sports 23 model has a little bit of a different ranking system from the looks of it. Some notable differences. You got Notre Dame at number 5, Georgia put below them at 7, Ole Miss and A&M 11 and 12 respectively. Obviously, much different than the AP and the college football playoff and the way things stand there. So in terms of specific metrics that the algorithm, I know you said it's a little bit of a combination of a lot of different sources, but what exactly does it value to get to those rankings? Is it strength of schedule? Is there certain metrics that it hones in on, or is it just more so a conglomerate of a bunch of different models and predictions?
Dominic, it's a terrific question. I'm glad you asked that. So the model is based on different aspects. We'll call different prediction metrics. One is we'll talk about is accounting models. Just how many teams, how many games did we correctly pick the winner? Another game is looking at the probability. So if we look at models that say for all the games that the model assesses the home team has a 70% likelihood of winning, of all those games we predicted, did we get 70% correcting that? If we did, the model is terrific. We also incorporate the score, the final score. What should the team win by? So if we say they win by 7, they win by 9. Okay, off by 2. If they won by say 4, we were off by 3. So we're looking at that error the same way we do with regression analysis, the mean squared error. How close are we getting to that final prediction? Next thing I want to say, the model does look at the common opponents. And it's really difficult for us to look at common opponents, because where do we stop? We could look at the common opponent of two teams, but what about the next level for the common opponents? Could be common opponents of the other teams they played. Isn't that just as important? And then it may be teams that there's no relationship, the common opponents of the common opponents. And what selection committees are, if it's the FBS committee, if it's the AP coaches poll, very subjective. The coaches aren't, getting into that detail. It's more what they talk about is what they feel that this team should have won by more, should have won by less. A lot of when you get into subjective bias, now you run into the situation that for me as a person, I'm more familiar with what happened this weekend, this week. But aren't those early games just as important? Okay, so that it's very easy for a person to eliminate or lessen that effect. Our models are creating equal weightings based on these metrics. And because it's data driven, we're really able to get into those, what we call the common opponents of the common opponents. So you may see situations with a sports model that will have a team ranked, say, 8. The team wins their game, but they fall in the rankings. Now, why do they fall in the rankings? Well, they could fall in the rankings because some of the teams that they've beaten.
And we thank you so much for sticking around if you did. If not, welcome back to the broadcast. WFUV Sports exclusive YouTube presentation of Fordham women's basketball versus the Davidson Wildcats. You can catch the rest of that interview with Dr. Robert Kissel in its entirety on our YouTube page, WFUV Sports on YouTube. But hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Tucker Austin, joined by Thomas Tisdale. It's 38-28, the Davidson Wildcats with the lead. After we watched 20 minutes of basketball, Thomas, we've seen this Fordham team stick in hard against a really, really talented Davidson squad. Especially through the course of that first quarter, Fordham was right there battling with them, but things starting to get away from them at the end of the second quarter. What do they need to do at the start of this third to work back into this one?
If you look at the box score and you're just scrolling down, like, there's really not much that Fordham's doing wrong. They're hitting about 50% of their threes, 4 from 8 from behind the arc. They're in about 46% of their shots from the field. But then I think the glaring one is 9 turnovers compared to Davidson's 4. And I think that's going to be key in the second half if Fordham wants to claw their way back into this one, is limiting those unforced errors. There were a couple sequences in that second quarter in particular where just a couple of traveling violations, some just unforced, just loose ball turnovers when trying to push the pace, and Fordham really just can't afford to stall there and shoot themselves in the foot with Alexis Blackout. They really need all the possessions they can get because their defense is just playing so well against this Davidson squad, except for maybe the last couple of minutes in that second quarter.
And what's probably getting on Coach B's nerves more than anything is the fact that a lot of those unforced errors in the first half on offense weren't as a result of being overly aggressive, which is something that Coach B would probably accept. If they were going to play more aggressive and play with that increased intensity and make a couple of extra mistakes from being overly so aggressive, I'm sure she'd let that slide. But when it's mistakes that are unforced errors from not really necessarily from aggressiveness and more just kind of plain errors, that's when it really hurts you. And I think Coach B definitely let this team know about it at the halftime break. But back underway here, it's Davidson's ball to start the second half. A layup chance inside from Kira Brundunks was no good. Rebound, though, by Garcia. And it's back outside for Alvarez. Brundunks another look from the left wing. That three is no good, a little long. Fight for the rebound. It's saved by Wilson Saltos. Last touch by Veljevic, and the ball is going to stay with the Wildcats on this opening possession. 9:30 to go, still a 20-second shot clock.
I would say one baffling thing from the first half is just the amount of and the number of offensive rebounds this Davidson squad was supposed to get. Coach B heavily emphasizes crashing on the glass there, and they just have not had an answer so far.
Charlize Dunn finds Inez Garcia under the basket. Her layup's no good, but there's going to be a foul called against Lucretia Edwards, so a first trip to the line in this second half for Inez Garcia. Garcia is 1 of 2 at the free throw line tonight. And she misses the first. Garcia, a freshman, straight from Spain, where she won the FIBA U18 Euro Championship in the summer of 2025. She missed both, though, at the free throw line. That time 0 of 2, and we remain at 38-28. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Easily kicks it out for Veljovic. Now Lucretia Edwards finds Wilson Saltos at the free throw line. Wilson Saltos kicks out for Kayla Berry, left wing. Cuts to the left block and puts it up off the glass. Kayla Berry working on Katie Donovan. Gets the first score of the second half. It's 38-30.
Great work there from Kayla Berry. Able to confuse Donovan a little bit there and drive, and a strong left-handed finish there from the senior.
Shook her off with a little move to the right side, but now Davidson's ball the other way. Alvarez to the left side, and now inside for Garcia. Puts up the reverse layup. A bit of a bump from Wilson Saltos, but no call. Good defense. Fordham's basketball. Easily finds Wilson Saltos. Bit of a panic moment there, and that's going to be an offensive foul against Wilson Saltos. I believe that's the first of the game against Wilson Saltos, so good job by her after she fouled out of their last game against the Dayton Flyers.
That's one of the turnovers that I think Coach B would be happy with. That is an aggressive play from Wilson Saltos. She's been on fire for most of today. Just a little bit unlucky.
Left corner, Charlize Dunn gonna pull, and she connects. Dunn with the left corner three, and Davidson an 11-point advantage, 41-30. 2 minutes gone already in this third quarter, and half-court line, and she does. Karen Easley gonna slow things down now for the Fordham Rams. Fordham in road maroons with white letters and numbers, white accents. Davidson in white home jerseys with red and black accents, red numbers, black outlines. The move inside and the layup no good, rebounded by Katie Donovan. Here come the Wildcats. Charlize Dunn with the spin move, and she gets inside. Right-handed layup from the right block is good, 43-30. Davidson pulling away a little bit here.
Dunn heating up a little bit. A killer three in the corner on the last possession, and then just a nifty little spin move there from her, and she extends the lead to 13.
Coach B trying to communicate with her side, get these Fordham Rams, get their gears turning again. 7 minutes to go. Easily a wild shot moving through the paint with the right hand. It's no good. Rebounded by Wilson Saltos. She drives inside at the buzzer of the shot clock and gets it off the rim. It's no good. The referee's deciding whether or not this is going to be a shot clock violation or an inbound. Fans in attendance want the shot clock.
I believe it's a foul.
There, yeah, wow, they call a foul. I think it's against Strauss, although they're listing Charlize Dunn. Now listing nobody. Both teams going to go to either side. The referees look like they might want to take a second look here. Both teams still with 4 timeouts, so nobody took timeout on the floor. The referees right now explaining something to head coach Folks. And I think they are taking a look at the monitor right now to see if this is a shot clock violation against the Fordham Rams or a foul against assumedly Charlize Dunn, who had some contact with Emma Wilson Saltos under the basket. It was bang bang right at zero. Emma Wilson Saltos went up for that layup. I didn't see much contact on the actual attempt. She wound up missing. But for me, I thought I saw her throw it off the bottom of the rim, but in time to avoid the shot clock violation. Clearly the referees saw some contact.
Yeah, it was really close. Debatable if there was a foul or not, but on the floor, they called a foul. I'm not sure if there's enough evidence to overturn that, but speaking about this Fordham offense, I think it's very important. I know they're down by 13, but it's not to force up bad looks on that last possession. Easily with a bit of a wild shot there, sort of right hook, trying to get it over the Davidson defender, but it's important for this Fordham team to continue to generate good looks. There's a lot of time left in this game. just under 17 minutes, but they just have to find a way to generate consistently good looks, and then obviously they have to put them down.
Fordham went 8 for 15 from the floor in the first quarter alone. That was worth 53%. The reason they exited the first quarter with a deficit was because they hit 2 fewer threes than the Davidson Wildcats. Fordham went 2 of 3 in the first quarter. Davidson went 4 of 8. But then Fordham in the second quarter, that's really the glaring difference here. It was a 20-point first and then an 18-point second for Davidson, 18-point first, 10-point second for the Fordham Rams. Just 4 of 11 from the floor. Eerily similar to the performance that the Rams put up in that fourth quarter against Dayton, where the game got away to a similar extent that it's gotten to right now.
Yeah, that has just really been an issue from this Fordham team is without their star guard, Alexis Black, how are they going to consistently put up points? And in that first quarter, it seemed like an encouraging sign for Coach B because the scoring was distributed, but as soon as a couple of unforced errors and Davidson putting a lot of pressure on the offensive side, Fordham just really struggling to keep up, and Fordham's really going to have to find a way to generate consistent looks for a multitude of players.
But either way, in case you didn't hear it over our crowd mic in the building, it's a foul against Charlize Dunn and 2 shots for Emma Wilson-Saltos, who misses the first off the front iron. But another chance for Wilson-Saltos here to try and cut into this lead a little bit. And she misses both, though. There's a fight for the rebound underneath the basket, and it's a jump ball possession towards the Fordham Rams. Nice work by London Lilly to not let Adina Strauss wind up with the basketball without a fight. Lilly getting her first minutes of the evening. Fordham getting the basketball underneath.
Wilson-Saltos not a great free throw shooter, but just great effort on the offensive glass to get that one back and get an extra possession for this Rams team.
Emma gets it to Omashola underneath. But then it was Lucretia Edwards, I believe, who wound up with the basketball under the basket and puts it through. 43-32, the Rams trying to work their way back into this one, but it's a good start right there. Strauss backing down on Omashola. Strauss steps to the right block and gets it to go. Edina Strauss had a really, really good first half, and now going exactly back to work the exact same way that she did in the first half here in this second. Veljevic going the other direction is whistled for the offensive foul. It was Charlize Dunn on the left block who set her feet in time. Another one of those aggressive turnovers, but Thomas, you think for charges like that, when really you saw Charlize Dunn set up well before Veljevic got there, it's a much more avoidable foul.
Yeah, I think it's fine if it's sort of a bang-bang play and you're just not seeing it there, but Dunn was set really early there, and Veljevic was just trying to capitalize and try to get any momentum for this Rams team, and just a costly turnover.
Strauss has it top of the key for the Wildcats. She gives it to Alvarez, who drives to the right block. She gets the layup to go after she loses Karen Easley. Easley had to jump on the pump fake, and Alvarez takes advantage. 47-32. It's now a 15-point advantage for the Davidson Wildcats. London Lilly, left wing. Now Karen Easley, who works it to Omashola at the free throw line. Handoff for Morgan. It's a give and go to Omashola. Reverse layup, but that's no good. Fight for the rebound. London Lilly battling for it again. It's another jump ball, but the possession arrow going towards the Wildcats this time. It was another battle, though, under the basket between London Lilly and the much larger Adina Strauss.
Yeah, Omashola a little bit unlucky not to see that one fall, but London Lilly doesn't get a lot of minutes for this Fordham team, but
she provides a lot of energy when she does get on the floor. Yeah. And they cause another turnover to the Fordham Rams. Lilly right there involved in the action. It's going to be Fordham's basketball underneath. Ugne Sertau-Teita gets ready to check in, and she does. Precious Omashola will take a seat now. Ugne has played just 3 minutes in this game, hasn't gotten onto the box score yet with any stats. The inbound from Easley is tipped out of bounds by Alvarez, and they'll do it again. Tia Morgan going to inbound it this time for the Rams. Looking for an option, throws it off the back of a defender and corrals it herself. Nifty play by Morgan. Lily tries to work it down low. It winds up back in the hands of Lily after Morgan wound up with it. Lily fires it off of the front of the rim, but that's no good, and it's rebounded by Davidson. Clock under 5 in the third quarter now, a 15-point advantage for the Davidson Wildcats. It's Elena Alvarez. A little back and forth play with Adina Strauss, but Strauss called for the up and down. Good defense inside by the Rams to keep Strauss from an open look as she takes a seat. Both teams going to head to their respective sides of the floor as we take a break. Under 5 minutes here in the third quarter, but Davidson, it's been more of the same in the last 9 minutes and 19 seconds of game time across the second and now third quarters. Davidson on an 18-4 run to have them out in front 47-32, their largest lead of the night at 15. The rest of the third quarter is on its way, though, and we'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball. Don't go anywhere on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
And we welcome you back inside the John M. Belk Arena here on the campus of Davidson College in Davidson, North Carolina. On the Bob McKillop Court, Tucker Austin and Thomas Tisdale with you. It's 47-32, Davidson with their largest lead of the evening over the Fordham Rams. Davidson, of course, at 4-1 and fourth in the A-10, looking to continue what should be a run at the top of the league and a solid run in the A-10 tournament. Meanwhile, the Fordham Rams just trying to get into the win column for the first time this year in A-10 play. It's been a tough stretch to start their A-10 schedule, playing against some of the cream of the crop in the conference, and they've run into another great squad in the Wildcats here and are feeling the burn of not having Alexis Black in the lineup. Thomas, quickly though, before we start this third quarter, or before we continue this third quarter rather, I want to make a connection here between the legendary Steph Curry, who of course attended Davidson College from 2006 to 2009, but we're also just spitting distance away from the hometown of one quarterback by the name of Drake May. He's from Huntersville, North Carolina, and he and Curry actually have a bit of a relationship that involves Davidson.
Yeah, Drake May's father played football at Davidson and, grew up a Davidson fan, and he actually went to some basketball camps coached by Stephen Curry. So Drake May obviously got a little bit of that GOAT aura from Stephen Curry at those camps, and Drake May obviously doing a fantastic job for the Patriots. They take on the Texans on Sunday.
Fun stuff there. Felt like we had to work Drake May in here somehow, considering we're right next to his hometown. First possession after the timeout for the Rams wound up a little bit empty. It was a miss by Sertau Teta, a rebound, a tough rebound at that by London Lilly. And then a foul on the floor against Davidson. It looks like it's against Elena Alvarez. London Lilly was the one who drew it, and the Rams have it under the basket, but the referee is still congregating at the three-point line right at the top of the key. discussing what the call is, and it is going to stay Fordham's basketball underneath. 4:22 to go in this third quarter. Fordham in a pretty deep hole, but going to try and look for some ways to get back into this one. Lucretia Edwards, left corner, guarded by Brundunks. Tosses it inside for Sertau Tata. Ugne Sertau Tata backing down Garcia. She picks up the foul. And the fans in attendance do not like that call, but Ugne Sertau Tata going to go to the free throw line now.
I mean, the outrage. I mean, there's boos. It seemed a little bit of a soft call to me, but Fordham certainly needs any sort of momentum that they can get, and that's sort of the physical nature that Coach B wanted them to be playing with throughout the game tonight, and it's gotten away from them at certain points, but Fordham trying to renew that energy and that maximum effort.
Sertau Tata makes the most of her trip to the free throw line. It's her first and second point of the evening, and it's 47-34, the lead for Davidson. Kira Brundunks gets it forward for Garcia. Davidson now in the offensive half. Clock ticks under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Jasmine Timerson with it. A pass inside for Garcia, who makes the bucket and one. Inez Garcia with the soft touch and the left hand gets it to go. Foul by Lucretia Edwards. Garcia going to the line for a chance at a three-point play.
Yeah, that's a tough play to stomach. I think you're okay giving up the easy two now and then, but to give them the easy and one, that's just really inexcusable. I believe that's a cardinal sin of college basketball, and Davidson looking to extend the lead to 16.
Indeed they do, as Garcia knocks down the free throw to convert the three-point play, makes it 50-34. Davidson up big. Donovan and Brundunks both checked out before that free throw for Davidson. It's Lucretia Edwards guarded by Emily Bessel. Edwards tosses it down low for Sertau Tata. She's trying to back down Charlize Dunn, but it's blocked by Dunn. Maybe a steal. It barely looked like Ugne even got that ball up towards the rim. A pass underneath for Bessel, who has to cut through the paint and get back out to the wing. Garcia finds Bessel. Bessel back up top. Charlize Dunn pulls the right wing three. That's no good. Air ball short left. Dunn puts a fist up to her mouth, a little shocked at her own self with that miss.
Yeah, with the way she's been shooting it, you thought that was at least going to hit the rim and if not go in. But this Fordham team just struggling to get their half-court offense going. Davidson doing a great job fighting through screens and just really no open looks and easy points for this Fordham team.
Tia Morgan has it, now finds Lucretia Edwards. Inside for Emma Wilson-Saltos, tosses it up with the right hand, but it's way too strong. Off the far side of the glass and rebounded by Charlize Dunn. Wildcats ball opposite end. 2:40 to go in this third quarter. It's a right corner three from Jasmine Timerson. That's no good. Fight for the rebound. Charlize Dunn and Karen Easley both in the area, but it looks to be last touched by Easley.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You force a miss off the three there, and just again and again, Davidson just finding a way to be in the right position at the right time on the offensive glass, and they've just generated tons of second chances. And that's one of the reasons why they're up so big.
And a pass down low for who else but Edina Strauss, having a huge night for the Wildcats. She gets another layup to go, and it's 52-34. Pass down low, trying to find Emma Wilson-Saltos was Karen Easley. They're going to call a foul on the floor, though, against Davidson. Fordham's ball underneath. Couldn't quite see who committed the foul.
It was Timerson, I believe, number 3.
Looked to be Jasmine Timerson. I'll defer to your judgment, Thomas. Tia Morgan has it, though, now, top of the key. She's guarded by Timerson, clock at 2:05. Third quarter of action, 52-34, Davidson with the lead. Karen Easley is blocked twice by Timerson and then commits the foul in transition. Jasmine Timerson back-to-back blocks against her number counterpart. And that foul pushes Davidson into the bonus. It's the 5th against the Rams. Timerson's going to the line.
Yeah, that's just a frustration foul there by Easley. Just fantastic defense after committing the foul there by Timerson. Able to block Easley not once, but twice, and that's just a brutal sequence, and I think that just sort of sums up Fordham's night on offense. It's just have not really been able to get anything going, and Davidson is certainly a major reason for why that is.
Timerson's first is good from the free throw line. I believe that was the first free throw attempt for her of the year. Just heard the TV crew to our right bringing up that stat. But yeah, first 2 free throws of the year for Timerson. She knocks them both down, and it's 54-34, a 20-point lead for the Davidson Wildcats here, just under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Davidson well on their way to a 5th win in conference. Fordham staring down the barrel of what could be a 6th loss. Mason Hill drives the right block, puts up the shot, but it's no good off the bottom of the rim. Rebounded by Timerson. Long down court pass for Bessel, but it gets away from her and easily picks it up. A quick transition the other direction for the Rams. Mason Hill pulls the left wing 3. That's no good. Rebounded by Morgan on the front side. And now it's Easley again, top of the key. She's got 12 seconds to work with the shot clock. Easley going to drive the lane. She's fouled before she started the act of shooting. It was up near the right elbow where she picked up the foul. And it's going to be Fordham's basketball underneath. Although it's the 5th foul against Davidson, so I think actually it's Easley going to the line, and she does now go to the line. She was setting up under the basket to take an inbound before the referees realized that Fordham's now in the bonus.
Yeah, not a great free throw shooter, Karen Easley. She's makes about 64% of her shots from the charity stripe as she knocks down the first one.
Yeah, she was 2 for 2 in one trip to the line against Dayton last time out on Saturday. What was a 66-58 loss for the Fordham Rams. But having taken a lead into the fourth quarter, the final score not indicative of how the rest of the game went. Jasmine Timerson with it for Davidson on the other end. Clock and a tick under a minute to go in this third quarter. There's a double team, and the ball is tipped away from Medina Strauss by Kayla Berry, and it's picked up by Wilson Saltos. But now a steal by Emily Bessel in the backcourt. Davidson turns the Rams over, and it's Leonafa with it now. Charlize Dunn gets a look from the left corner. That's no good. Rebounded by Kayla Berry. Karen Easley has the ball for the Rams, brings it the other direction. Easley and Berry working back and forth at the top of the key with Jasmine Timerson in the area for defense. Timerson and Easley still on an island on the right wing, and now Wilson Saltos helps out. Easley gives it to Morgan, top of the key, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Morgan spins across the free throw line and steps into a mid-range jumper that's good. 54-37, 8 seconds to go in the third quarter. Strauss down the floor for Charlize Dunn. Dunn working right to left. Timerson, left corner. It's Bessel. Her 3 is good! It rolls around the rim at the buzzer and falls to the elation of this home crowd at Davidson to make it a 20-point game once again at the end of 30 minutes. 57-37, Davidson in complete control with a chokehold on the Fordham Rams, and just 10 minutes to go. 3 quarters gone, 1 left in regulation, and as I just mentioned, a 57-37 lead for the Davidson Wildcats over the Fordham Rams. We'll be back with the start of the fourth quarter after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Welcome back to the John M. Belk Arena on the campus of Davidson College in Davidson, North Carolina. Just a little bit north of Charlotte, Tucker Austin and Thomas Tisdale with you, where the Fordham women's basketball Rams have fallen into a very deep hole against the fourth best team in the A-10 so far, the Davidson Wildcats. It's 57-37, Davidson with the lead, and just 10 minutes to go in this ball game. Thomas, it's been a blistering performance from Edina Strauss, who leads the Wildcats in scoring, also leads the game in scoring. Charlize Dunn putting in her work as usual with 13 points of her own. The Rams with just one player in double digits, and it's Lucretia Edwards, who's yet to miss tonight. But outside of that, the Fordham Rams have just been struggling generally on offense, and I think when you look to the turnovers, it's not even that bad of a margin anymore. But the Rams have still been kind of progressively turning the ball over a little bit more, and the field goal shooting has still been relatively cold, especially more so in that third quarter compared to the first two.
Yeah, that last sequence for Davidson pretty much just epitomizes this game. They were able to move the ball, 5 seconds left. Didn't feel rushed at all, but Fordham just really have not been able to generate, whether that's through ball movement or something off the dribble. They just haven't been able to generate those looks that they'd want.
Excellent connection that time. First possession of the fourth quarter for the Wildcats is successful. A 2-point conversion by Inez Garcia after an excellent no-look find by Kira Brundunks under the basket, and Fordham immediately commits the turnover on the other end. Offensive foul away from the basketball by the Rams. It's called against Precious Omashola, but a 2-point basket for Davidson and a turnover for the Rams in just over 30 seconds to start this fourth.
Yeah, we keep talking about how big of an absence Alexis Black here, but it's the third game now without her. At some point, you've got to find some offensive identity, and it just feels like Fordham just hasn't been able to do that. They've been shooting themselves in the foot, a lot of unforced errors, and they just have not been able to knock down those tough shots.
Garcia kicks it out to Brundunks. A swing to the left for Charlize Dunn. Her right wing three is no good. Rebounded though by Brundunks. She sends it back up top for Dunn. Fighting for it was Lilly, but Dunn comes down with it. Now it's Alvarez down low for Garcia. And Garcia travels under the basket, pressured by London Lilly. Fordham forcing the turnover this time. And just over a minute is already gone here in the fourth quarter. 8:50 to go in regulation, and it's 59-37 Davidson.
I will say, though, London Lilly, hasn't knocked down a shot yet. She's only taken one, but her effort and her intensity that she's brought, even though they're down by 22, Fordham has really just relied on her intensity as a foul.
And they call another offensive foul
Lilly, yeah,
against the Rams. Was it against Lilly, Thomas? I couldn't quite see. I was watching the basketball, but it was another foul away from the ball. Fordham's been trying to set some screens to get their ball carriers loose, and it's been working pretty consistently so far today, but the last two possessions now for the Rams starting to find mistakes where they didn't even have them in the first three quarters.
Yeah, just a little bit sloppy there from Fordham, and maybe that is due to just a little bit of fatigue. We're now in the fourth quarter, and they were supposed to bring maximum effort, but just really sloppy, unforced errors. Fordham just really hasn't been able to get into their half-court sets yet, and plays just because of the fouls called on them on offense, and it's really hard to get anything going, hard to find that rhythm. when you're consistently getting broken up by just really sloppy, careless fouls.
Meanwhile, we've been in a timeout for the last minute or so. The Fordham Rams and Coach Bridgette Mitchell calling the first timeout of the night. She wants to talk some things over with her Rams. Down by 22 now. Coach B trying to find some way to get her team to get going here. It's just so tough when really the best the Rams looked tonight was in that first quarter. And by the end of that first quarter, it seemed like they were already a little bit out of gas. So, like, you talk about that maximum effort, it certainly seems like the Rams have been giving the maximum effort. But at the same time, it feels like sort of an empty endeavor where, like, without Alexis Black. It's like when they have Alexis Black in the lineup, she's giving the maximum effort. Then there's enough collective effort to get them over the hump. It just feels like so far, especially since she's been out, that the Fordham Rams have been giving maximum effort at times, but then suddenly find themselves realizing that the maximum effort lacking Alexis Black is significantly different, I think at the least you could say, for this Rams team. And then they wind up in situations earlier on in games when they're down by 8, 9, maybe 10 points. And this was the situation at the end of the second quarter where things got out of hand enough that mentally it just seems to be beyond what they can do.
Yeah, you can bring maximum effort, but at some point you've got to have enough poise, you've got to have enough craft and skill to just get some buckets to fall on. And with Alexis Black out, it felt like Fordham just doesn't have a player that they can rely on to really take over this game and carry Fordham through those stretches where maybe the shots aren't falling.
An 18-point first quarter, a 10-point second quarter, and a 9-point third quarter for the Fordham Rams tonight. They've yet to score in this fourth. Ball out of bounds, last touched by the Fordham Rams. It's going to stay with the Davidson Wildcats under the Fordham basket. 8:17 to go in this fourth quarter. Adina Strauss gets ready to check back in, and she does, in place of Inez Garcia.
I think it's really important for this Fordham team to continue to have positive body language. You know, they may not come back and win this one, but it's important to show Coach B something of promise. I recognize that they've had a tough slate to open A-10 play, but at some point, you've got to get a win in the win column.
Fordham looking for an option on the inbound. They throw it away right to Kira Brundungs. A wide open left wing three for Charlize Dunn, but they're going to call an offensive foul this time. I think it was under the basket. And it's Adina Strauss who picks up the offensive foul, but a lucky break that time for the Fordham Rams. Dunn wide open on the left wing and was absolutely pure on the three-point jumper.
Yeah, Fordham really fortunate that an offensive foul was called there because Dunn, like you mentioned, with acres of space there, I mean, could have eaten a sandwich in that time. It would have taken for a Fordham defender to close her out there, but Fordham able to escape that one, maybe hopefully get something going on offense.
Morgan, Lilly. Top of the key, Lilly working left to right. Now back up top for Edwards. Edwards dribble handoff, Morgan. Offensive foul against Lucretia Edwards. It's pretty much been the story of this second half for the Fordham Rams. So many possessions killed early in the shot clock by offensive fouls and similar mistakes.
I mean, we're 2.5 minutes into this fourth quarter here, and I haven't seen Fordham have a regular possession yet, and that's just really just not going to cut it as you're looking to prepare for your later games.
Charlize Dunn gets under the basket, puts it off the backboard, gets her own rebound. Now a fight for it underneath between London Lilly and Charlize Dunn. Jump ball, possession arrow towards the Rams, and it's going to be Fordham's ball underneath the basket.
I will say I've been very impressed with Davidson's level of effort. You know, they go into triple overtime against Richmond on the weekend, and you feel like at this point maybe they'll be a little bit gassed, but no. Charlize Dunn, who had 52 minutes against Richmond, she's still out here hustling for an offensive rebound while they're up by 22. It's just really been an impressive effort so far by the Wildcats.
Yeah, the starters played a majority of Davidson's game against the Richmond Spiders last time out, which was also on Saturday. A triple overtime loss, 91-84, in which Maggie Dugan had to drop 48 to get the Davidson Wildcats to go away. But like you mentioned, yeah, it's been a bit, the starters have been a bit tired today for Davidson, but Adina Strauss has done a great job, usually a bench player, picking up the slack where the starters don't have it. A nice move inside by Tia Morgan, who gets the layup to go with the right hand from the right block and one. So Morgan stands at the free throw line with a chance to bring the Fordham Rams within 20. If she hits this, it'll be a 19-point deficit.
She's been 100% from the field tonight, Tia Morgan. Pretty impressive on the offensive end.
Morgan can't get the free throw to go, so it stays a 20-point game, 59-39, just under 7 minutes to go in regulation. Elena Alvarez guarded by London Lilly, goes up top for Garcia. Inez Garcia in the middle for Emily Bissell. Emma Wilson-Saltos picks up the foul, and Bessel, believe, is going to go to the free throw line here, although it looks like she should. I think the contact came on the shot attempt.
It's Brundunks.
Actually, it looks like it's Brundunks who took the contact and the shot, so she'll be at the line for two. She looked to be coming up a little short on that right leg, but she makes the first no problem.
Yeah, the Davidson's off-the-ball movement has really just been relentless, and Fordham, for the most part in the first quarter, was able to keep up with them. But in the second and the third, and now a few minutes here into the fourth, Fordham's just really struggled to contain it, and Davidson has been able to generate those open looks, and it's just easy layups and able to draw a lot of fouls against this Fordham team.
Brundunks takes a seat, though Charlize Dunn is still in the game. Fordham with the basketball, 6.5 to go. Edwards finds Wilson-Saltos, drives on Katie Donovan, and flips up a left-handed layup. That's good. Wilson-Saltos, more good work in the paint. It's back to a 20-point game again, 61-41. Top of the key, it's Alvarez. Finds Garcia. Garcia back up top. Katie Donovan, straightaway three is pure. Katie Donovan, who was 1 for 5 from beyond the arc before that shot, hits her second three of the night. Maybe showing a little bit of that fatigue from playing a large chunk of the Richmond game, but she still looks pure when given the opportunity. 64-41, the lead for the Wildcats. A quick left wing three from London Lilly is no good, rebounded by Alvarez. Now here come the Wildcats. They're going to slow things down with Garcia top of the key. Now in the left corner, it's Alvarez again. Alvarez works it to Garcia inside. She makes the layup and one. Garcia makes it off the glass, flying through at the baseline and hits the deck after the contact, but now Garcia, a chance at a three-point play in a 66-41 game.
Yeah, just great physical play there from the freshman from Spain. Just does a great job there, just selling the contact and most importantly, getting the shot to fall.
And just what I think the fans in attendance were waiting for, as Garcia misses the chance at a three-point play, gets her own rebound though, and it's a fresh possession for Davidson. A drive into the lane and another and one. Elena Alvarez this time takes the contact. A kiss off the glass with the right hand, and she's going to the stripe. 68-41 Davidson.
Elena Alvarez saw what her fellow Spaniard Inés Garcia did, and she said, I can do it too. able to get just a beautiful drive with the right hand and able to get it, kissing it off the glass. Let's see if she can convert the three-point play.
The foul by Veljovic. Meanwhile, after the last set of free throws, she misses the three-point play opportunity, rebounded by Veljovic. Charlize Dunn and Katie Donovan have both taken a seat on the bench, and I find it hard to believe that we would see them again in this game. 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Davidson up a boatload, 68-41. The Rams just trying to put something together offensively here. They are 2 of 3 now in this fourth quarter so far, but trying to remedy, maybe too little too late, a second and third quarter in which the Rams shot a combined 7 of 25 from the floor.
Yeah, that's really just not going to cut it.
And the ball gets away from the Rams on the offensive end again, and the Davidson Wildcats have it with Elena Alvarez. It's 68-41 with 4:40 on the clock in the fourth quarter. It's a right corner look for Emily Bessel, but it's no good. Fight for the rebound. Garcia comes down with it, and she gets it to Angie Ziaka. Ziaka, Leonafa, and then now Alvarez. Alvarez drives to the free throw line, right elbow, looks to get the pass to Garcia, but it's kicked the length of the floor by Emma Wilson-Saltos. Camera guy couldn't quite get a leg on that basketball.
That's now 15 offensive rebounds for the Wildcats, and we thought Fordham was going to be the team that was dominant on the glass, but Davidson's just doing a great job neutralizing Fordham's physicality, and they're just able to pick up the loose balls.
Inbound from Davidson, and it's Alvarez again, easily on her. Alvarez loses the basketball and easily picks it up. It's a steal for the Rams. Alvarez didn't know what hit her. Lucretia Edwards, left wing, pulls the three. It's short. Gets her own rebound, but it gets through her hands and winds up with Emily Bessel. Bessel, top of the key, she'll slow things down, but you mentioned those offensive rebounds. Davidson moves it inside for Leonafa. It's a jump ball between Leonafa and Emma Wilson-Saltos. Ball with the Wildcats. But you mentioned the offensive rebounding, Thomas, for this Davidson team. 15 offensive boards for Davidson, just 8 offensive rebounds for the Rams. And when you look to the offensive rebound stats as a team, the Rams right now sitting at half of their usual average of 16.6 per game. Davidson, the worst offensive rebounding team in the conference at 9.9 per game, is way out rebounding themselves on the offensive glass. And a quick bucket after the inbound by Adina Strauss, and still a full court press as the Wildcats are just completely snuffing out the Fordham Rams in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, just
70-41.
Yeah, this has become a bit of a blowout. We talked about at the end of the first half how the scoreline wasn't really reflective of the performance that Fordham put in, but in the second half, they've just really have not been able to do anything on the offensive glass, on the offensive side.
Wilson-Saltos cuts through the paint and gets the left-handed layup to go through. A little bit of contact, no call, but it's 70-43. Wilson-Saltos up to 8 points now. And a move inside from Jasmine Timerson, and Timerson gets it to go. The immediate answer, Wilson-Saltos now in double digits with 10, but the 2 on the other end by Timerson, and it's 72-43. Davidson guarding a 29-point advantage under 3 minutes to go in regulation. Karen Easley goes to the baseline, throws it up with the right hand, and gets the layup to go. Easley, fearless among the trees down low, and it's 72-45. Timeout taken by Davidson here with 2:24 to go and a mountain of a lead.
Yeah, Davidson just going to try to work in some of the players that haven't really been getting a lot of minutes throughout their opening conference games, and Davidson in cruise control right now, doing whatever they want on offense, and defensively they've just been really outstanding.
Yeah, it's Ziaka, Eliza Burke, Jasmine Timerson, Candace Leonafa, and over there in that left corner who just stepped out of bounds, it's Sienna Dower. That's the 5 on the floor for Davidson. They have effectively emptied the bench here with 2:18 to go. Veljovic going to take a seat as Lucretia Edwards heads back out for the Rams. For Fordham, it's Ornella Niankin, Lucretia Edwards, Karen Easley, Tia Morgan, and Ugne Sertau Teta. Pretty close to a starting roster for the Rams as they try to work some offense late here. Sertau Teta in the middle working on Eliza Burke. Puts it off the glass with the right hand, a spinning attempt by Ugne, and it's 72-47 Davidson now.
Fordham really wants to get her going. She hasn't really had much of a chance here tonight. Obviously didn't play last game, and so if she can find some sort of offensive rhythm, get some sort of momentum, that's certainly going to be a welcome sight for this Rams team.
Leonafa, a straightaway 3 was no good, and Sertau Teta on the rebound, so it's Rams ball. A pass too strong for Sertau Teta over the hands of Ugne inside from Lucretia Edwards, and it's stolen away by Davidson. Top of the key, it's Timerson. Eliza Burke playing now in her first game since December 19th. Sienna Dower playing in her first game since January 3rd. Left corner 3, Dower, no good. Rebound corralled by Angie Ziaka, and it's back with Timerson. Timerson finds Leonafa, left corner again, Dower. Dower drives to the left block, no good, but gets her own rebound and then gets it to go. Sienna Dower gets the 2 to go, 74-47. The lead for Davidson, now clock under 50 seconds. Tia Morgan, a right corner 3 is good. Fordham up to 50. 74-50. As Tia Morgan with that shot becomes the leading scorer for the Rams. So left corner 3 from Ziaka, no good. Rebounded by Tia Morgan. She'll bring it the length of the floor. 30 seconds to go in regulation. About a 3-second difference between the shot and game clock. Easley drives into the lane but can't get the layup to go. It's rebounded by Ziaka. It's back with Ziaka. Shot clock is turned off. She's going to dribble it out. The Davidson Wildcat fans are on their feet here in the Belk Arena for a big bounce back win for the home team Wildcats. Timerson with it, easily giving her a little bit of a look on the perimeter, but that is gonna do it from Davidson, North Carolina. 74-50, a 24-point victory for Davidson. A commanding one in which they led by as many as 29 points. The Fordham Rams went ice cold in the second and third quarters, allowing the Wildcats to extend their lead and then completely run away with this one for what is Fordham's now 5th loss in a row and 6th straight loss in conference play.
Yeah, just Fordham looked really competitive in that opening quarter, but just could not continue that momentum and just once the offense stalled out once, they just struggled to reignite it and continue to get it going. And a disappointing performance from Fordham. And you can come in and say that Davidson was favored, heavily favored to win this game. But Fordham, I think, is going to be pretty disheartened with the way that the game unfolded after it started so well, so promisingly for this Rams team. Davidson started slow on offense, but then at the end of the first quarter was just able to just get into second gear and just really just outpace this Fordham team, and Fordham just really did not have an answer on offense.
Fordham did have 3 players score in double figures. It was 10 points for Wilson Saltos, 10 points for Lucretia Edwards, and 12 points for Tia Morgan. But other than that, for the Fordham Rams, the only other player above 5 points was Kayla Berry with 6 as a team. 42% from the floor, 45% from 3, but just 5 of 11 stacked against 9 of 29, and 28 of, I believe that's 59 shots taken by the Davidson Wildcats in this game. An unreal number of shots from the floor, but I think what really stands out to me is both the assisting and the rebounding in this game. 18 assists for Davidson, just 8 for the Fordham Rams. Fordham really struggled to facilitate the basketball and create offense off of the assist. Meanwhile, Coach Bridgette Mitchell did not seem that worried at all about Fordham's ability to rebound the basketball in this game and to dominate the boards against Davidson, a team that's one of the worst rebounding squads in the conference this year. But Davidson pulled down 40 boards to Fordham's 26, out-rebounded them offensively and defensively. 23 defensive rebounds for Davidson in this game. Fordham just seemed kind of outclassed ever since the end of the first quarter. It was another good first 10 minutes, but another struggle of a back 30.
Yeah, I think that's just really just been the story of Fordham season. They're able to put some pretty impressive product out on the floor for 10-minute stretches, but then really struggle to piece it together for 40 minutes. And like you mentioned, that the rebounding margin, plus 14 for Davidson. Fordham, I think, really came into this game expecting and relying on their prowess on the glass to really carry them through when maybe the shots aren't falling, that they were going to be able to corral a couple of misses and get a number of second chance points. But it was really Davidson who really excelled on the offensive glass, lots of second chance points. And, you know, you look at the raw percentage numbers shooting. Fordham shot 43% from the floor. I think you take that. 46% from three. This Fordham team doesn't take a ton of three-point shots, but when you're knocking them down at that clip, I think that would be an encouraging sign for the rest of the game. But outclassed on the glass. The turnover battle was pretty close at the end, but there were points in the second quarter and the third quarter where Fordham was, you know, maybe 5 or 6 down in the turnover margin, and Fordham, I think the most glaring discrepancy between Davidson, who's really challenging for the top of the A-10 conference, and Fordham, who are struggling to get their first win and try to stay out of that last place in the A-10. I think the main discrepancy was the ball movement. For 40 minutes, Davidson constantly cutting, constantly moving the ball. I mean, there would be sequences where the ball wouldn't touch the floor for 7-8 passes, and Fordham, I think, just really struggled to run through their half-court plays. I think credit to Davidson and the Wildcats' intensity, but Fordham, you know, it's the third game without Alexis Black. We don't know how much longer she's going to be out for. At some point, you have to find an offensive identity. They average 57 points with her out and 68.7 with her on the court, and that's just too large of a gap. And you know, I think you could blame Alexis Black being out. You know, it's tough to win games when your star point guard is out, but at some point you've got to put points on the board, and Fordham just really have not found that recipe for success so far in the A-10.
Yeah, meanwhile for Davidson, led by the scoring outburst, 17 points on 7 of 9 shooting from Edina Strauss. Excellent work from their listed center. There's also 13 from Charlize Dunn, who was a little tired after playing big minutes against Richmond, and then 10 from Inez Garcia. But overall, just a top-to-bottom better performance from the Davidson Wildcats than the Fordham Rams presented this evening. But the best part about league play, Thomas, is that there's another game right around the corner and another opportunity for the Fordham Rams to try and get this monkey off their back and get their first win of conference play. The Rams dropped to under 500, now 8-9, 0-6 in the Atlantic 10, but they move on to their next game against the St. Bonaventure Bonnies at home at the Rose Hill Gym this Sunday, January 18th at 2 p.m. We'll have that game on the WFUV Sports YouTube page live once again. The Davidson Wildcats, on the other hand, they improved to 13-6, 5-1 in the conference. Their next game is going to be also on the 18th on the road in Philadelphia against a resurgent LaSalle team. But that is just about going to wrap things up for us this evening from Davidson, North Carolina, and from inside the John M. Belk Arena. Once again, the final The Davidson Wildcats 74, the Fordham Rams 50. And for Thomas Tisdale, I have been Tucker Austin saying thank you so much for listening today, and we'll see you in the next game. Fordham Women's Basketball is a production of WFUV Sports.